You said the PQ is not your principal opponent in this election. Who is your principal opponent?
Well, I would tell you that President Trump is my principal opponent.
Do you see Madame Fréchette as your main adversary now?
It's not about adversary. It's about that CEQ government over 8 years just misspending money and creating problems and not solving what's important to the population.
Obviously, I think it's the Parti Québécois because they've been leading in a lot of polls. They're very adamant about holding a referendum, whether it's in November 28 or February 29 doesn't change anything.
There's a lot of people currently in Quebec that are undecided. I see it personally as a conservative as an opportunity because it means that the main parties are not able to convince them and they're not quite sure who they would like to have as premier.
Wow, there you go. Pretty wide cross-section there from the leaders today now that the official election campaign has begun. I want to go back to Christine Fréchette, who took a second to think of an answer to that question, who's your biggest opponent, and came up with Donald Trump. I thought that'd be PSPP biggest opponent, but James Mennie over at the Montreal Gazette. Jim, from what you heard, what'd you think?
Well, I find it first of all, Madame Fréchette had no, I think, option other than to answer Donald Trump, because let's face it, Donald Trump has breathed new life into her party's fortunes. Donald Trump has, how can I put it, at least for the time being, rehabilitated the Coalition Avenir Québec. And Donald Trump has also spooked the head of the Parti Québécois so much that when he's asked who's your adversary, no, it's not about, adversaries. It's about governance. It's about this. It's about, in other words, forget about all that referendum stuff. Okay, never mind that. We're not going to talk about that now. We're just going to talk about the things that are important, the nuts and bolts of government, and that's it, and that's all. And I'm wondering how many times he'll be referred to say, well, how does that, square with your blue book on Quebec separation? Does this policy you're mentioning sort of like, will it still exist in independent Quebec? As for Charles Milliard, I think it's clear. I'm not utterly unsurprised. They've been using the same campaign slogan for 40 years, vote for us or Quebec separates. And once again, Eric Zame, who at least is speaking very forthrightly, I am going to grab every opportunity I can and run like a jackrabbit with it. He's been doing that so far. I think he's really in this entire, it's terrible, Aaron. We have 39 days. But, here's a fearless prediction. Keep your eye on this guy. Keep your eye on Zane. Mm-hmm. And you know what? You'll probably be hearing from him. You'll probably be hearing from his people more than any other party leader in this campaign.
Why do you say that, Joe?
Because he knows there's no such thing as bad publicity. There's no such thing as, because this guy is going to talk to everybody all the time. He realizes that when you're there,
okay.
He's in media, Aaron. You know how it works.
Yeah.
When you're there, people see you. When you're there, people hear you. When you're there, people are talking about you. When you're not there, guess what? Poof, you're gone. And all of a sudden, somebody fills that vacuum. So here's Eric Zame, and once again, you're hearing it more and more. Whether it's true or not, it's becoming part of the vernacular. Here's, a potential kingmaker, a potential balance of power holder. Eric Zame, he's doing very well in Quebec City. It looks like, he may be the guy to beat up there. And as Léger, with this mega poll, 11,000 respondents, Aaron, for crying out loud. They're saying basically the next government will be decided in the 450. No, not the Island of Montreal, but the Couronne around it, and the majority will be decided in Quebec City. That's where that devious little Mr. Zame comes in. Will he take enough seats to make a majority impossible? At which point we've got all kinds of permutations to wonder about, to lose sleep over, perhaps. But the bottom line here is, this is the first time Quebec has had an election campaign that is about a guy who isn't even here. Please don't tell me it's not about Trump. It's about Trump. People are not talking about the third link, even though reporters keep asking. Even Milliard was quizzed about it today. This is not top of mind, even for the people who live in Quebec City and Lévis. Right now, they are worried about where their economy is going to go with this demonstrable lunatic who renamed a lake today because he got his nose out of joint because an Ontario premier pushed back at him publicly. That's where we are in this. But the fact is, you are going to see, unless there's a huge change, Aaron, you're going to see a fight, a very bitter fight between the CAQ and the PQ. And remember, the PQ, no matter what you want to say about them, and God knows we've said it on this show, no matter what you want to say about the PQ, they're not going to call a referendum. So you may just see the needle start to budge a little more in Madame Fauchet's favor as the days and weeks go by. As for the rest, I think Eric Dane is clear. I'm going to do what I can do well, which is, win the Quebec City region and become the holder of the balance of power if necessary. And as for Charles Milliard, well, I think his campaign speaks for itself. Aaron. When we have this huge poll, the province-wide poll, and basically the Liberals have a lock on the West Island of Montreal and a chunk of Ottawa, of the Outaouais, and you know what? That's it. So you know what? It's going to be very, very interesting, but it is not going to be like any campaign you and I have talked about in the past 15 years.
Just because of Trump.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Aaron. We can't avoid him, whether rightly or wrongly. Okay. He's huge clickbait in the States and in this country. Right now, we're talking about who said what. Donald Trump is calling Mark Carney a liar. Gee, who do we believe? But this is where we are. So, rightly or wrongly, he's smack in the middle of it. And I think that anger, that absolute white-hot anger that guy has stoked in this country, you are going to see spatter into this campaign. You're going to see it. And I heard you talking to our correspondent earlier. Don't kid yourself. Lutnick's idiotic comments about French, like, why would I even care about that? Guess what? A lot of Quebec Francophones perfectly understand English, and anybody who's going to kick that guy's butt down the stairs is going to get their vote.
So I'm going to tell you something, Jim, as I hear you say this, and I've been thinking this now for the past couple of days. We're not, you're right. We're not going to be able to control Trump. He's going to do whatever he does. He's kind of the wild card in all this. But I wonder, given that, by the same token, because we don't know what's in store for Quebec, for Canadians, whatever, with Trump, but we know that we're prepared, right? We had the CAC convene this panel telling us, don't worry, we got it under control, whether it's money for small businesses or unemployment, whatever it is. But because we don't know what's coming, the focus, you would think, would be on what is here, what we do know about, and what up until Trump got in power we were going to talk about, which was the economy, affordability, education, Santé Quebec. I can't help but think that's still going to be and should be the focus of the campaign, but you don't think so.
Well, no, I don't think so. And I'll tell you, not based on any kind of political acumen I have. I worked as an assignment editor for 8 years. Newsrooms, Francophone, Anglophone, right across the country have been gutted. We don't have the personnel to look at all the issues that you're talking about. So we got to keep it simple. We got to be able to turn it over every day or every hour, okay? And we got to make sure we're grabbing eyeballs. So the days of the big think pieces, then when you used to open up the newspaper and you see these page after page of Stalinist gray rectangles of copy, those are gone. It's all down to sound bites. And I'm telling you right now, Trump is easy. Saying no to referendums is easy. Wondering what the hell the Liberals are doing is easy. Watching Eric Dane turn around and say, I'm going to take over the whole Quebec, that's easy because you could dig into it and say, well, what exactly do you mean when you're going to cut, $47 billion? What the hell are you talking about? Who the hell? What services will be the first to go? And I guarantee, and the big shame here, Aaron, I find, especially, I'm hearing all these ads back to school. I'll bet you folding money we'll be lucky if we spend even 10% of this campaign talking about, as far as I'm concerned, a number one priority with effects on all the others, which is education. We'll be very lucky to hear a single word about that. Because why? Because the other stuff is easier, it's sexier, and it just gets you clicks.
Okay. I want to ask you one last thing based on the poll you alluded to a moment ago, the Leger poll, 11,000 people surveyed. What do we take from this?
They're saying, they're suggesting very strongly that this is going to be a fight between the CAC and the PQ. I would not dare, this early in the game, say that's the way it's going to go. There's so many things that can happen. Indeed, I'll use the example of the Liberals today. Their campaign kicked off with them getting rid of an eighth candidate because of some misconduct that we can't talk about publicly, but that's done. But you know what? The PQ could turn a corner tomorrow. This is the one thing that all campaigns share is you can organize, you can get your ground people done, you can get all your stuff done, but then all it takes is one twist, one unforeseen thing, and everything goes south. And if you don't believe me, ask Francois Legault when he finally turned around and said, I wasn't really going to build a third link.
Okay. By the way, Jim, I should let you know CTV News, not a surprise perhaps, is now reporting that Mark Carney is challenging Donald Trump's order to rename Lake Ontario. Don't know what that means, but there you go.
Oh, stop.
So he's
Stop.
dragged him into this. I can't believe this is actually happening.
Just stop. But
All
there
right.
you go. Hey,
Yeah.
we'll be talking about it tomorrow.
There you go. You're right. 100% right. Jim, if I was to ask you today as a non-betting man, not using folded money, who's going to win this election based today, 39 days away, who'd you say?
I'd say it's a toss-up between a CAC or PQ minority. Frankly, I would prefer a PQ minority because that way the other so-called Federalist parties can keep them on a tight leash, even though they're still in power. If the CAC gets a minority, they can be blackmailed into, they were doing it before anyway, but just this side of a separate country policies with Canada. So I think that is where we're going to go. But once again, ask me again in a week, and I'm not trying to weasel here.
I know. That's fair.
Stuff just changes, buddy.
James Mennie at the Montreal Gazette. Thank you, Jim.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.